This training will cover Chapter 23, Single Audit Requirements. This video is presented by the Oregon Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs, also known as ODE CNP. In this training, we will cover the purpose of a single audit, identify which organizations are required to have a single audit completed, explain the structure of the single audit, and identify important sections of the audit report. Identify the date for submitting audits, discuss sponsor requirements, and ODE and sponsor communication regarding the single audit. Once you are done with this training, you will understand the regulatory purpose of a single audit, including the report structure and submission due date. You will also understand what information is required to be reported to ODE, information on this audit evaluated by ODE, and ODE's expectation regarding audit communication. Single audit requirements are based on federal regulations under the Code of Federal Regulations. The main code is under 2 CFR 200, subpart F. This section sets forth standards for obtaining consistency and uniformity of the audit of non-federal entities expending federal awards. Title II, Part 200, Appendix 11, also referred to as Compliance Supplement, is a guide used by the independent CPA completing the audit. It provides program-specific guidance and requirements for federal awards and regulations. All single audits must be submitted to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse. This is a U.S. government office that manages the submission, processing, and distribution of federal grant audits. Sponsors who want a deeper understanding of these federal regulations are encouraged to check out the electronic CFRs online. It is important that non-federal entities that expend more than $1 million in federal funds each fiscal year understand the regulatory requirements and due dates of a single audit. Every federal program is assigned an assistance listing number. The assistance listing number for CACFP is 10.558 and SFSP is 10.559. The assistance listing numbers are reported on the single audit report called Schedule of Federal Expenditures, or CFA. ODE reviews the CFA for inclusion of assistance listing numbers for CACFP and SFSP and compares this information to information in CNP Web. If a sponsor receives CACFP or SFSP funds and the assistance listing number is not included on the CFA, or if the amount expended is significantly less or more than the amount received, ODE will contact the sponsor to seek additional information. A single audit is a comprehensive audit performed by an independent CPA. It is completed to provide assurance to government agencies of the management and use of federal funds. The objective of an audit is for an independent auditor to evaluate the integrity of an organization's financial data. The auditor reviews financial statements for accuracy, for compliance with generally accepted accounting principles. The audit report format allows for consistency of information reviewed and presented in financial statements and the evaluation of internal control systems in place. Nonprofit organizations, tribal governments, and local government agencies such as schools and universities that expend $1 million or more in federal funds during their fiscal year are required to have a single audit completed and to submit the single audit to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse within 9 months of the close of their fiscal year. At this time, ODE does not require for-profit sponsors who expend $1 million or more in federal funds during their fiscal year to submit a single audit, but may request for-profit sponsors to submit program-specific audit. A single audit contains 4 key components: an audit of the organization's financial statements, a report identifying the independent auditor's opinion on the financial statements and the organization's compliance with federal programs, a schedule of federal award expenditures, also referred to as CFA, which identifies all federal programs in which the organization participated and the amount of federal funds that were expended for each federal program, and a summary report that identifies material weakness and significant deficiency audit findings, management's response to the findings, and the corrective action plan for the findings. Organizations that expend $1 million or more in federal funds during their fiscal year must have a single audit completed by an independent party and submit the single audit and all required components of the audit to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse within 9 months of the close of their fiscal year end. Organizations that received an extension from their cognizant agency must notify ODE of the extended due date. CACFP sponsors are required to procure single audit services consistent with the standards included in Chapter 8 Procurement, which is located in the CACFP Policy and Procedure Manual. CACFP sponsors must also provide federal grant information to ODE CMP by completing the sponsor information sheet in CMP Web and keeping all information up to date. Information regarding the organization's fiscal year beginning, fiscal year end, and identification of federal funds expended in the previous fiscal year is located on lines 138 through 140 of the sponsor information sheet in CMP Web. ODE relies on this information to identify CACFP sponsors who are required to have a single audit completed. After the single audit has been submitted to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse, sponsors must email ODE and provide the date it was submitted to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse and identify if it contained any audit findings related to CACFP or SFSP funds. ODE CNP sends notification and reminder emails to sponsors who are required to complete a single audit. The email informs sponsors of their organization's single audit submission due date and the requirement to notify ODE CNP when the audit is submitted to the clearinghouse and if the audit contained any CACFP and/or SFSP findings. Sponsors who will not submit the audit to the clearinghouse by the due date and have received an audit extension from their cognizant agency must notify ODE the single audit will not be submitted timely and provide ODE with an audit status progress update. All sponsors who have not submitted their single audit to the clearinghouse within 3 months of the due date and who have not contacted ODE about the audit delay will receive an email from ODE to inquire of the audit status and progress. ODE expects that sponsors will respond to ODE emails timely and provide audit status and progress updates. To stay in compliance with federal regulations, ODE and the sponsor must stay in contact regarding the status of the single audit until the audit is submitted to the clearinghouse and ODE's review of the audit is complete. Sponsors do not need to send the single audit to ODE. Regulations require ODE to download audits from the clearinghouse. After reviewing the single audit findings, CFA and corrective action plans, if additional information is needed, ODE will send an email to the sponsor requesting additional information. This is considered a management decision. Sponsors who receive a management decision email from ODE are required to submit additional information to ODE CNP by the assigned due date. In review, in this training, we covered the purpose of a single audit, identified which organizations are required to have a single audit completed, explained the structure of the single audit, and identified important sections of the audit report. We identified the due date for submitting audits, discussed CACFP sponsor requirements, and reviewed ODE and sponsor communication regarding single audits. For more detailed information on single audits, please refer to Chapter 23 of the CACFP Center Manual. ODE supports equity and excellence for every learner. This institution is an equal opportunity provider. Thank you for taking this training.